Hello viewers, today I want to talk about Godwin's law. Godwin's law, also known as Godwin's law of Hitler analogies, was given in 1990 by an American attorney and author called Michael Wayne Godwin. Michael Wayne Godwin, if you search him on Wikipedia, you'll find that he is not only the creator of Godwin's law but also of the first known use of the term internet meme. And all of us are familiar with internet memes. It's part of our daily culture of using the internet and interacting with it. But are we familiar with Godwin's other creation, that is Godwin's law or Godwin's law of Hitler analogies? If you're not, then this is the right video for you. Godwin's law of Hitler analogies basically states that the longer an online discussion lasts, the more the probability of a comparison involving Nazis or Hitler starts approaching 1. Now, probability approaching 1 basically means an event is almost sure to happen. Probability 1 is mathematical language for an event that is almost sure to happen. So, in simple words, the more you discuss something online, especially political matters, the higher is the likelihood that a comparison involving Hitler or Nazis is almost certain to happen. The idea behind this law was to discourage the specious, that is superficially plausible but inherently flawed comparisons with Hitler. Why are there so many comparisons with Hitler? Because Hitler is someone who everybody knows about, everybody agrees that Hitler was evil, and whenever we try to explain that somebody that we are competing against is exceptionally evil, it's very tempting to choose the Hitler option. But the moment you choose the Hitler option, many people believe that you lose the argument. You can't choose the Hitler argument or Hitler option as a comparison unless you are absolutely certain that the person you are comparing with Hitler actually deserves that comparison. So, Michael Wayne Godwin never discouraged the use of comparisons with Hitler when it was deserved, but all he said is you have to consider the enormity of the evil that Hitler unleashed on the world and think deeply whether the person you are now comparing with Hitler also is evil to that extent. If yes, then by all means go ahead with the Hitler comparison, otherwise maybe not. So, he discouraged the specious use of Hitler comparisons, but he has gone on record to say that if a person actually is similar in terms of the potential for evil as Hitler, then by all means go ahead with it. But how we have interpreted it, or many people in the world have, is the moment you use Hitler as a comparison tool in your political discourse while describing your political opponent, you have lost the political argument. Now, why is this important? This is important in the current context because in the recently concluded American presidential elections of 2024, the eventual winner, Donald Trump, was frequently described as Hitler or Nazi. Now, if I were to not mention names and just mention two candidates, one candidate was not democratically chosen because in America there is a democratic process for choosing the candidates for presidential elections. This is called the primaries. This particular candidate is considered a replacement for the existing candidate who also did not face a proper primary, which was suppressed artificially. This person who was propped up because of the suppressed primary was found out to be compromised, and at the last minute this person was replaced by the ultimate candidate, who went on to perform quite abysmally in most interviews, to the extent that this person stopped appearing in prominent interviews. And you have the other candidate who decided to go on all sorts of interviews, including not so popular ones, the most popular ones, on hostile territory, on friendly territory, and also survived 2 assassination attempts. So, on the one hand, you have a candidate who is not democratically elected is almost a last minute replacement who nobody voted for as to be the candidate to represent the political party. And on the other hand, you have a candidate who has survived 2 assassination attempts. Who do you think is more likely to be a threat to democracy? Who do you think is more likely to be worthy of a comparison to the Nazis? Even if you ignore these two factors, if they are running in a democratically held election, which candidate is more likely to get the votes? So Kamala Harris was the last moment replacement for Joe Biden when it became clear as daylight to everyone that Joe Biden was not capable of winning the race against Trump. This happened in the summer of 2024 when people had been clamoring for a proper primary for a much longer time period. The Democratic Party establishment did not go for a primary, did not replace Biden. They replaced him very late, and at the stage when he was replaced, Kamala Harris was the only logical option left. And Kamala Harris was always less popular than Joe Biden, but the Democratic Party establishment had no other option because Trump at that time was wildly popular. He was popular before the assassination attempts. After the assassination attempts, he became even more popular, and he had an inherent charm and inherent charisma which is more than what Kamala Harris had. It was very difficult to compete against Trump. And towards the end, the only argument that the Democratic Party establishment had was Trump is a threat to democracy, Trump is a Nazi, Trump has become a dictator. And even observers like Alan Lichtman, whom I have to add, has always been correct in predicting the winner of the presidential race since 1984 except 2000, and has always claimed, in fact always used the same words to say that his predictions are not based on his own political leanings, because if he were to go by his own political affiliations, then he would not have predicted a Trump victory in 2016. But if you watch his other interviews, he is not talking about his keys. He has clearly said that his affiliations are towards the Democratic side. I felt that he was trying to gin up support for Kamala Harris, making people believe that Kamala Harris actually could win, which is, there's nothing unfair about it. He is an American citizen and he can support or express his support for a particular candidate. But I felt it was a little bit disingenuous because his keys clearly indicated that Trump would win, at least in my interpretation of it. And he has acknowledged that many people interpret his keys in their own ways. If you go by the Wikipedia article on his keys, it's mentioned in one line there that some of his keys have a subjective interpretation which does reveal them to be open to debate. So Alan Lichtman is called the Nostradamus of US presidential elections because, like Nostradamus, Alan Lichtman's predictions have always proved to be correct, or like Nostradamus, Alan Lichtman's predictions have proved to be correct quite often. As I said, almost always except 2000, from 1984 to 2020. 2024 he got it woefully wrong. But if you go by Nostradamus's predictions also, Nostradamus's predictions were not in very precise language. They were in vague terms. And Alan Lichtman's keys are also slightly vague. Some are absolutely clear, like no third party or party mandate. These are quite clear-cut keys. It's an objective key which can easily be interpreted. But something like charismatic incumbent, uncharismatic challenger. Charisma is in the eyes of the beholder. He felt Trump does not have charisma. Trump is not a national hero figure. But Trump was a national hero figure to many people in America. That's why he was able to win so many votes, get so many votes all over the country. And a person who has had 2 assassination attempts, that's unprecedented. No American presidential candidate has survived 2 assassination attempts. So we were in unprecedented territory here. Anyway, so there you have it. This was the video on Godwin's law of Hitler analogy. So next time you get into an online discussion involving politics and you notice somebody has jumped to comparison with Hitler, or maybe you want to compare somebody you disagree with as Hitler, pause and think, are they really worthy of that comparison or not? Take care, bye bye, and please don't forget to be awesome.